All right, welcome back. This is the Great Lakes circuit from Flatland Games in Wixom, Michigan. This is the third round, second game between myself, Tim, and Matt on the right playing Andy with an alternate art card, which was one of the promo participation prizes for this tournament. So I'll just share a little bit about this deck. It is a Scorch variant, running a more normal agenda suite, not the 6 agenda variety. But this was a little bit popular when Order and Chaos came out, because it runs, or right after Worlds, because it runs Janus 1.0. Otherwise, it's kind of, looking through it, it's got some inspiration from the Boot Camp Glacier archetype that's been pretty popular lately, but still have the Scorch threat. And Matt, your Andy deck?
Yeah, again, I'm running, it was literally my Andy build from 2013, but I had swapped out some tech pieces for the Switchblade Silencer plan in an effort to troll replicating perfection decks. But what I had swapped out for that, ironically, was my meat damage protection. And all I did all day was play decks with Scorched Earth.
It was
like,
heavy,
no!
Yeah, heavy flatline.
I made a horrible mistake.
Meta in this tournament. I think you said it was 20 or 25% that were flatline wins by corporations.
Yep, there were a lot of dead runners, and that's even in a meta where when you see a blue sun, you're like, oh, okay, yep, it's either the silly, like, 6 agenda or whatever, punitive build, or it's got Scorch protection, or Scorch punishment, or it's both for some reason, or, you know. And like I said earlier in the first game, even the Jinteki replicating perfections I played and the HB that I played, I think were both running Scorch. So it's a little crazy town.
Yeah. And the name of this deck of yours?
Old School.
Old School, to go with your Corp game.
Yep. I was kicking it Old School.
Yep. So we'll start off. All right.
Sure.
All right. Starting off the game. I think I only had one piece of ice, but it looks like I drew one of Scorch early. I don't want to leave any of the main centrals open because I know you have dirty laundries, or at least I'm assuming with Andy I install ice over R&D. I don't think I have any agendas, and so my first click was to draw. So I think I ended up getting a second piece of ice. Although I don't think I can res both of them, but obviously, likely against Andy, we're not going to have to risk both of them. Usually you just run the free one because you're trying to get rid of some cards, some kind of run event.
Yeah, and against Blue Sun is really nice because even if you can't afford to res both, you can res one now, pick it back up, put it back down, and still be able to res the other one later. I kept what looked like a pretty good hand to me. Security testing.
Yeah, it's a great hand.
Desperado. Yeah, I was like, all right, I got money. Let's do this. Like I said, I am expecting damage, so my game plan is to try and stay up on money.
Right.
It's going to go off the rails pretty quickly here because I am not going to see the Janus coming. And with Blue Sun's ability to lock down centrals for a little while, makes the security testing hard. Like, security testing is just so rough against a single remote Wayland.
Right, exactly. And that's
a single remote HB. It owns against all the NBN and horizontal Jintekis and horizontal HBs that you see, but when you're leaning on it for your econ like criminals do now, it can be really tough to play a Wayland.
Right. And so you got your ferry out, and that's why I installed over archives early. Is I know you have Desperado and security testing, so I want to turn that off. And running through a Caduceus is just going to be a use of one click without any economic advantage.
Yep. My doctrine with caduceus is to always deny the corporation money,
Right.
unless until you hit that point where you don't care anymore.
Right.
So I will always match the trace if you don't put anything into it. And that's sometimes wrong. But here we go. So here I've scored an Atlas. So that tells me that you're not playing the maximum punitive build right away. But I still have to be concerned about any more normal Wayland business of Seasource Scorch. So I'm gotta stay up on money.
Yeah. So I could still be boot camp, or I could be just regular tag and bag, or hybrid, which is the case. And you hit a data pike, which is great to have in Blue Sun because it's going to punish those face check. And I'd like to see what your thoughts are, because early on you run pretty aggressively. It seems like at least the more global playstyle has shifted away from kind of face checking ice. But maybe that's just the Grail ice, and that's not as common these days because you don't want to necessarily face check that, but it's still
right. I don't have you on Grails, and I have the Fairy in case you're running a cheeky Cortex lock. The Data Pike was a surprise because Anarchs are all packing Yogg now, so I didn't expect anyone to be running the good old Pike anymore. Right. So I did just faceplant right into that, but I felt like I might be mathing it wrong against, but I'm not really. You're only on 2 credits, plus you can pick up a hive for 4, so I have a credit advantage and Desperado. So I feel like I want to find out what your ice is because I feel like I have the tools to deal with it when I do, and you're not being a gentleman and building a remote server for me to security test. So
yeah. And I still like that playstyle. I think getting that early information about what the build is, it was very valuable. I think my Ron 4 opponent, I didn't run Centrals very often when I played Runner, and it ended up being an HB deck with Scorch Earth, and did not think...
You weren't able to see it coming, right?
Right, exactly. And getting those accesses, seeing kind of ice, seeing where the influence is, it's still very valuable, even if you hit a Cortex lock, as long as it doesn't kill you. I think it may be worth the risk.
Yeah, and here I've got the Fairy out, and like I said, I do have the credit advantage for the time being. So I feel pretty good about.
Yeah, and this still works against
continuing aggressive pressure.
Yeah, and this style still works against Blue Sun because you're still taxing my clicks, even if I'm bouncing the ice back for the credits back. I'm still spending another one to re-ice. So I'm just trying to get the more damaging ice somewhere where you're going to hit it. And so far, you've had a lot of accesses on R&D. Got the Atlas from R&D, so I figured that's going to be the right place for it, as long as you don't have a decoder.
Yeah, I will say that R&D run there, that was a misplay. I should have known that was the Data Pike again, because what else was it going to be? Yeah. But the first time I ran it, fine.
Right, exactly.
Second time I ran it, that was dumb. But again, I'm feeling a little squeezed now because while I did have the early lead, my econ hinges on remote servers. I'm running both security testing and bank jobs in here because I expected to see a lot of that. So until there's a remote server, it's kind of like I don't know what to do. So I could just sit back and click for credits. But
what kind of card draw are you running in your deck?
I am
hotels
running,
or.
I'm trying to remember this build. I think so.
Okay. And you haven't done it so far, so
I haven't drawn into the I'm running hotels, and I just haven't drawn into it. So again,
another another R&D access. I think that's a executive boot camp. It's hard to see. But now I know that data pike's worthless.
Right, and there we go. I was running the YOG. So it was super dumb of me to face check the data pike twice. But YOG is a costly breaker for a criminal that is short their econ engine.
Right. I think that might have been a caduceus or something else. I know the code gates that I had in my hand aren't useful now.
Yep, and here I'm at a little bit of a loss for what to do. I haven't drawn into my card draw naturally. I think I'm sitting on a hand of, like, you know, criminal good stuff.
Right.
Siphons, bank jobs, but I can't land any of them.
You haven't drawn a corroder, or maybe you have a special order or a corroder in hand, but you don't have the economy to get through that hive to take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a huge misplay again, because now the credit advantage has flopped. So if you are playing damage, you know, you tax me a little bit with the caduceus. Like, hopefully I don't recall exactly, but I don't know if I fall for it or not. Or just go through. You know, you'd probably not res. You know, you might be happy to let me take a poke at R&D if you've got the C Scorch in hand.
Right. And I think, I had a Scorch early on, and I think I'm getting the whole combo here. But you do use the fairy to keep your credits and the silencer credit, so it's a good use of what you had on the board.
Yeah, although, because, again, I'm going to be totally blindsided by the Janus. I'm like, okay, he hasn't scored an agenda, so the fairy's useless. You know, or the fairy's not going to protect me from an archer. I'm not seeing Cortex lock anywhere. I'll use it on the caduceus. Why not? What could go wrong?
I think you actually might be thinking of the game we played in our casual night. I don't think I res a Janus now. I don't have the economy for it.
Oh, right. Okay. That's all right.
But I do have. So I bounced the HQ hive, and I think I just lucked into having exactly the credits. I'm trying to figure out how many credits I need to Scorch double, to C-Source double Scorch, and I think I have exactly. I'm at 12, and you have 5 plus your 1 link, so I need to get.
So you're at, like, exactly what you need, basically.
Exactly, yeah, and I think I bounced the hive just because I wanted some economy and not realizing it, but it was the right call in this case.
Yep, and that's the thing. Against a deck that's packing the Scorch game plan, you can't make a successful run if you can't fend off the C-Source Scorch trace.
Yep, so there you go. So that's the end of that one. Any insight more on this? Not a long game. It's only about 7 turns.
Yeah, I think so I had a pretty good start, all things considered, for criminals. So I think it's a bit like we were talking about with the last game. Criminals are in a spot right now where it used to be that you could parlay a good start into continued aggression.
Right.
And you really can't anymore. You have to build better board position. Right. So I invested a lot of clicks into further aggressive running when I just needed to suck it up and draw through cards to be able to play out my breakers. Because, it's 2-0. I have the lead in this game.
Exactly, yeah.
You don't even have a scoring server, so I needed to have shifted out of aggressive mode and into board control mode.
Right.
And that's a personal problem that I have doing in Netrunner. I really play aggressively even when I perhaps shouldn't.
Yeah, it's a hard lesson to learn and be okay. I need to back off now. I'm in control of this game. Let's make sure I stay in that position.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of a rookie move, right? I'm playing Wayland, or these days NBN, either
Right.
of those two corp factions. Just assume they're going to kill you until they prove otherwise.
Right.
So if you don't have to make the run, why bother? Like especially if the run is going to lead to your death because they have a credit lead, just stay off of it. Build position instead, even if it means pitching some really nice blue cards.
Right.
I think you could see a little bit of my hand there. It was like Ghost Runners and stuff that was just like, I don't need these now.
Right.
So
yeah, it looked like you had a passport that wasn't going to be that useful at this point. Because there's no bigger code gate. Let's see. Yeah, I think I had oversight AIs, but no big ice. I didn't quite get an economic advantage, and without being able to set up a remote server, I couldn't use my secondary one, which was bouncing an Adonis campaign back and forth. And I think I've only gotten a few of the Operation Econ, but it was a short game, so maybe
Yep. It's a good cautionary tale about the importance of maintaining credit parity with a kill deck and just letting it go when the aggression doesn't work.
Yeah, I think a lot of times.
Chill, Winston, chill.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, and Criminal is a little bit at an advantage against my deck. You want to build your credits up until there's an oversight AI, and then tear that down, and maybe even jack out before making a successful run. Because that's usually the main way that Blueston's going to get economy, unless they start using an Adonis campaign to roll in credits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're in a place in the meta, and we're seeing it in the results. Like criminal win rates have dropped, and like all of the NBN has switched over to like murder death builds, and the HBs have switched over to like endless glaciers of ice for days builds because aggression is being severely punished in the current meta.
Right.
It's not sustainable in the long run.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. It'll be interesting to see. I've been playing around a lot with my normal Andy build is a supplier or now career fair powered resource drip economy build, and that feels really good against a lot of the mid range or glaciary decks. But ironically, loses to the aggressive corporations. So
that the smart players are hedging their bets, or some players that are doing smart things. I think sounded like, but I wasn't there, that the Michigan Regional was won by an RP Rush deck. At least it seemed like it. I think anytime I see a fast track in RP, I think Rush.
Yeah. And the half of the top 8 at Michigan was NEH Butcher Shop, like murder death stuff.
Right. So a lot of,
because it can punish even experienced runners.
Right.
It's just what it goes. It takes advantage of mistakes very well.
Right.
And the RP that succeeded was I think Fast Track might have been his only rush tech, but still, keeps the scoring window open, right?
Yeah. So. If you can get that Nisa when you need it, when you have the advantage, if you already chained one out the turn before, that's just going to be a huge advantage.
Yep.
All right.
Big lesson. We're in a slower meta.
Yeah. Most of the time, yeah. Except for the ones that are trying to kill you quickly or rushing out agendas and thinking you don't have the way to get in. All right. Well, thanks for your time, and hopefully we'll have some more videos up for future events.
Yeah. Thanks for recording, Tim.
All right.